blame for crime. The opposition leader brands government dysfunctional after a cabinet minister admits lack of knowledge on NHI. Some hurricane-ravaged areas won't have electricity until the new year. Plus, Queen's Counsel Wayne Monroe defends his migrant flogging comments. We've got those stories and more coming up tonight. I'm Dana Smith, and NB12 starts right now. Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson said the courts are not to blame for crime, adding that Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade knows many of the reasons why some murder cases are not tried in a reasonable time and eventually result in the suspect being granted bail. She said as much to NB12 today after the commissioner recently criticized the court system for the number of repeat offenders being granted bail, and after the Bahamas Bar Association's president called government's swift justice program politically contrived. Well, Maynard Gibson said when it comes to crime and matters being tried, the system works. Kyle Joaquin reports.
I think that it is extremely important to be careful about protecting the independence of the judiciary. The facts show that there is not a revolving door on bail for persons who have been charged with murder.
The excuse of people being granted bail no longer applies to the growing crime problem in the country, according to Attorney General Allison Maynard Gibson. Police Commissioner Ellison Greenslade has repeatedly called for changes to the judicial system to address repeat offenders being granted bail.
We've arrested them until we're blue in the face. And for the life of me, it is very disconcerting that weeks subsequent to arrest for serious matters, we have to arrest these same people again.
But according to the AG, fewer than 10 people on trial for murder have been granted bail this year.
Well, granted, there may have been 9 persons granted bail for murder this year. 2 were granted we appealed, we objected to those, and those appeals were successful. And the other 7 were all in respect of people who had been held for beyond 3 years. In a country like ours, we believe that people should be tried within a reasonable period of time. So if we are unable for various reasons, and the Commissioner knows many of them, not to be able to be tried within that period, then of course our system protects those who are presumed innocent until proved guilty, and if they have a right to bail.
One of the few people granted bail this year was Donna Vasili after several appeals. However, she has since been convicted and sentenced to 20 years for the March 8th murder of her husband, Australian podiatrist Philip Vasili. Bahamas Bar Association President Ellsworth Johnson said on Monday that he doesn't subscribe to the government's swift justice program because it was created with political motives. But the AG says the program has been extremely effective, particularly in clearing the backlog of cases. She says sometimes rape or murder cases could take up to 8 or 10 years before they head to trial. But those days, she said, will soon be a thing of the past.
So I invite Mr. Johnson to come in and join this effort that is so important for the future of the Bahamas, that everybody sees that our system works, and most importantly, people recognize that serious crimes will be tried swiftly. If he calls it a reasonable period of time, that's fine with me. I know that the Bahamian people do embrace the word swift.
Again, the AG says swift justice has been a rather successful program since its implementation, and that Bahamians should see more results as time progresses. Reporting from the Cabinet Office for NB12, I'm Kyle Joaquin.
State Minister of Legal Affairs Damian Gomez's admission that he's lost when it comes to national health insurance is an indictment on the Christie administration, according to opposition leader Dr. Hubert Minnis, who today questioned how a person who sits at the cabinet table could know no specifics about a national issue. Minnis said it's clear this Christie-led government is dysfunctional.
So it shows the lack of communication, not only at the populist level, but also at the cabinet level. It's a serious indictment. It's a serious indictment of the Christie-led government. It sends a terrible message when the cabinet, who are the decision body of the country, members within the cabinet, a member within the cabinet, is stating that he does not understand NHI. If he don't, how in the world he expect the populace to understand? The only one who understands it presumably is the Prime Minister, but I'm sure he don't understand what he wants to do.
Gomez admitted to the NASA Guardian's National Review that he is lost when it comes to specific plans for NHI. The cabinet minister said he does not know how much NHI will cost, and he does not know specifically what NHI will entail. And when asked about the government's public relations campaign, Gomez said it's horrible and hopeless, marking another embarrassing moment for the Christie administration.
That shows that the government, by extension the cabinet, it's a dysfunctional government and dysfunctional cabinet. How can you sit there on a national issue, an issue as important as national health insurance, is not known or understood by a cabinet minister? What do they discuss at cabinet? Such an important issue as national health. And I challenge you to ask other cabinet ministers and be assured that probably about 70% of them, just like the population, do not understand what the government is trying to do.
Gomez also predicted that on its current track of ignoring the views of the public, the PLP would not stand a good chance of winning the next general election. He said, quote, "The PLP has a good chance if we're able to arrest where we are with PR and do what we need to do with respect to responding to public views. You can't ignore the public and expect to win." Minnis said, in his opinion, Gomez is only saying what many other government members feel.
Gomez is vocalizing how many of them feel. And the Prime Minister, it seems that he's running the ship all by himself. I think the whole cabinet, the whole government need to go. And like the young people say, we need a rebooting of the whole system. But when we reboot, we should press the delete button so we delete the PLP and its government.
F&M Chairman Michael Pintard said the party would welcome Gomez into its ranks, explaining that it's been clear for some time now that Gomez is unhappy with the Christie administration. Asked about this, Minnis would only say the F&M has a big tent and is in discussions with many government members, but he refused to elaborate on the nature of those discussions and who exactly they're with.
We have always said that we have an open tent. I've been in discussion with many members of the government, but at this point in time I won't reveal those discussions, but many are unhappy. Gomez is just vocalizing how many of them feel, but many would not state their feeling.
Well, responding to F&M Chairman Michael Pintard's comments that the F&M would welcome him into its ranks, State Minister of Legal Affairs Damian Gomez today declared, "I am no political parasite or opportunist." In a statement released by PLP Chairman Bradley Roberts this afternoon, Gomez said, "Just as my cabinet and parliamentary colleague, the Honorable Jerome Fitzgerald, is no political prostitute, I am no political parasite or opportunist. My political philosophy is aligned with the philosophy, tenets, and values of the Progressive Liberal Party." Gomez said, unlike the F&M, the PLP government has worked tirelessly to transform and modernize this country, while the F&M stood in the tall grasses, jeered, threw stones, and obstructed. He said, unfortunately, that ill-advised and ignoble legacy continues today and drives the contemporary F&M political brand. Gomez said he supports NHI as the right policy to protect and improve the overall health and quality of life for our people, and so does the government. He said NHI will reduce the cost of health care and health insurance across the board, and on those scores, there is no disagreement on the policy whatsoever. He added, "I also support more direct engagement and communication with the Bahamian people on what the government is doing on their behalf in this area, and has voiced the same." He said, "For me, it is not an issue of politics as it appears to be with the FNM. NHI is an issue of national development undergirded by the principles of social justice and equality." He added that the PLP is the only government with the conviction and political will to deliver universal health care to the Bahamian people. In other news, Queen's Counsel Wayne Monroe is today defending his statements about flogging illegal immigrants, saying it's the only way to send a message loud and clear that will discourage those considering coming to the Bahamas illegally. Monroe was quoted in Monday's Tribune pushing for the form of corporal punishment to be inflicted on those caught living and entering here illegally. Today, he told NB12 that he said what he meant and he meant what he said.
It physically inflicts pain for 2, 3, 4 hours maximum. But its impact psychologically is something that is profound. And it is something that's so profound that all you need to do is judge the comments that have arisen over what I have said to understand that people think it's so brutal that it shouldn't be inflicted on persons.
Flogging, which many human rights organizations consider a form of torture, is still practiced in countries like Saudi Arabia. Immigration has been an issue for the country for decades, and last year government began taking extensive measures, amping up raids and deportations. The vast majority of illegal immigrants housed at the Carmichael Road Detention Center are Haitians, followed by Jamaicans and Cubans. But Monroe said his comments aren't specifically about Haitians and Jamaicans, but any foreign nationals illegally in the Bahamas.
Well, illegal immigrants are illegal immigrants. We have illegal immigrants from Eastern Europe in the detention center. So I don't really care where you are from. And nobody will be able to find anything that I have said that is population specific.
When asked about women and those under 18 and whether they should be flogged, Monroe said this.
Caning for people under 18. Well, we having an equality, supposed referendum. Why would they be treated differently than men if we're in this big age of equality? If I were to suggest that women be spared, people would jump down on me on the basis of that's sexist. So if we're going to say there's equality, the only difference would be there's a physical assessment of the ability, and the physical assessment is regardless of whether you're man, woman, or child.
You're watching the best in Bahamian news. There's more when NB12 returns.